Good afternoon. I hope you are having a great Monday. I'm Julie Broughton. The time now is 12:30. This is Take 6. We're so happy you're spending a little bit of time with us for your afternoon news brief here. We like to get together right after the noon show and talk about what's going on here at News 6. We certainly saw a much more Florida-like weekend after just a very weird weather week last week. But the good news, if you like the warm weather, the Florida-like temperatures, you will enjoy your full forecast. Coming up, we'll tell you when you'll see temperatures near 80 and when we have our next best chance of rain. We're also going to chat with our friend News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden, and he's going to tell us why we should think twice before scanning just any random QR codes. We see that is coming up in his schemes and ripoffs. But first, lawmakers are back in Tallahassee for a special session called by the governor. Earlier this month, News 6's Laverne McGee has been following along with all of the action in Tallahassee. And Laverne, I know it started around 10:30, and already things haven't gone exactly maybe as a lot of people thought they would.
Okay, so politics always has its twists and turns. We know that, right? Well, today, yes, we saw that. Here's the backstory. Governor Ron DeSantis, he called a special session. Of course, their legislators are supposed to meet in March. He called one early saying that, hey, we need to take care of issues like immigration. We need to take care of the condo fees. You'll remember that there's a new law implemented at the beginning of this year, and people are facing really sky-high condo fees because of a new law. Hurricane issues, hurricane relief issues. So all these things the governor was saying, hey, we need to call a special session. So he did. And the legislator showed up this morning at 10:30, and the Speaker of the House shut it down. He basically said, I think we'll just have our own session, Julie. And so that's what he did. So they ended his session and began their own news session. And we are a political analyst here at News 6, Jim. I'm sure you had him on Take 6 before. Jim Clark, he's a UCF professor. He was like, this is a power move. This looks like a power play, because Governor Ron DeSantis, of course, wanted this special session. And then they said, we're going to end it and do our own. So, of course, they end it, they do their own, and they decide to take these different bills that had been proposed and roll it into one and say, okay, we're going to move forward with this one. Now, here's the thing, though. If you were interested in finding out about your hurricane relief fund, or if you were interested in condo fees, not this time. They didn't address any of those. This is primarily, in fact, it's only about immigration. And hot off the presses, Julie, I'm going to read this to you because a press release came out like just moments ago saying they are tackling and reforming unlawful migration policy. The Policy Act partners with President Trump, so local law enforcement, to protect communities from criminal, illegal immigrants. So that is the focus. That's where your taxpayer dollars are going with regard to this session. And I hope you followed all of that, Julie.
You know, it is, as we were talking before this, I said, okay, Laverne, this is not my area of expertise, so you're going to have to walk us through this because it is complicated. And like you said, so many people are dealing with, real financial issues because of these condo fees. And so I know that they're interested in that. But of course, President Trump was just inaugurated last week. So he has gotten busy already at work, started at work on his first day with all of this. So, I guess we'll see. How long do these special sessions typically last? Do we know how long it's going to last? Do we know what's happening this afternoon?
We do, Julie, and you are not alone. Most people don't know how this stuff works. They don't follow along all the nuts and bolts. But of course, like you said, we've got a new administration, and President Trump has put this at the forefront, and he said he wants the states to partner. So Florida has stepped up and says, we're going to partner. So what's happening is this afternoon at 1 o'clock, actually coming up in a half hour, they're having another session. That is going to be a select committee on illegal immigration. It's going to be chaired by Representative Robinson. So that's at 1 o'clock. Then the Senate Committee on Illegal Immigration, can't talk today, that's going to be chaired by Representative Tom Cole. So a session at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then another session at 5 o'clock. Riveting stuff, right? Actually, it is when you really break it down. There's a lot of legal speak and back and forth. But hey, this is the stuff that protects our communities. That's what they say they're trying to do, is protect all of us. And this is how policy and process happens. So we're going to be monitoring this, Julie, so you don't have to monitor this. And hopefully I'll be able to glean some interesting tidbits. But Again, there's a lot of politics behind this
Mhm.
as well, like I said. But the main thing here is that immigration is front and center here
Mhm.
in Florida.
All right, and I know you said that next session starts at 1, and you're going to be monitoring those throughout the day, and I know you'll be with us on News 6 this afternoon as well.
I absolutely will. And like I said, if there's anything breaking, of course, we will let people know either on streaming or broadcast. But these sessions are not typically anything that is going to be earth shattering. We have a good understanding of what they're trying to do. Of course, like I'll have more details about that later. But this is something that has become a priority here.
All right, well, Laverne, I know you have a busy day monitoring all this, so you can bring us the very latest on air and online. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie. Good seeing you.
Good to see you. We're going to take a short break. When we get back, we are going to check in with News 6's Lewis Bolden again about those QR codes. It seems like they're everywhere, but he has some advice on why you might not want to scan those if you aren't really sure of the source. And we will also check on your full forecast that has a nice warm up on the way. Stay with us. We're back in about 2 minutes. Welcome back to Take 6. It is 12:38. I'm Julie Broughton. Thank you for sticking around with us. If you were watching on YouTube, you were getting to enjoy a beautiful shot of our Daytona Beach Camp, showing a lot of blue sky and really nice conditions. That should stick around for us throughout the week. We'll talk more about your full forecast for you coming up in just a few minutes. But first, News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden is joining us now. And Lewis, I'm so interested in your story today because you were talking about QR codes. And I will say that I'm guilty if I just whip out my phone and scan whatever QR code and think everything's going to be fine. And you're telling us, don't scan so fast.
Exactly. Those quick response codes are convenient. They are everywhere, Julie, like you said, everywhere from parking meters to bringing up restaurant menus. They are everywhere. But clicking the wrong one can be costly. Take a look. QR codes are convenient to use, but that convenience can come with a price.
They can be misused. They can absolutely be misused.
How are they being misused?
Lots of different ways.
Rob Allen is the Chief Product Officer for ThreatLocker.
Public places are an obvious and easy place for people to target.
The FTC has warned scammers hide links in QR codes to steal your information. There have been reports of bad guys replacing QR codes with a QR code of their own on parking meters. A scammer's QR code could take you to a spoofed site that looks real but isn't, and scammers could steal any information you enter. Or it could install malware to your device that steals your information before you realize it.
So I would say anything you see in a public place, whether it be a restaurant or paying for parking or anything like that, I would just assume don't use it.
Or at the very least, inspect the website thoroughly for things like misspellings. Also, be careful of QR codes in text messages and emails. The FGC says don't scan a code in an email or text you weren't expecting, especially if it urges you to act quickly. And protect your phone and accounts by updating your phone's operating system and protecting accounts with strong passwords and multi-factor authentication. Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off. But if you do, email me at lbolden@wkmg.com. Getting results, I'm Louis Bolden, News 6. So, Julie, we love our QR codes, right? Because
Yes.
they are so easy to use, but mainly the ones you have to be concerned about are the ones that are in public places, like parking garages and parking meters. And you don't have to just avoid them altogether, but if it's in a public place, I would really inspect it closely. You can even put your phone over it, hover over it, and you can see the URL. And sometimes, if it has a weird URL that just doesn't look right, just stay away from it. Unless it's a website that you know for sure that's the proper website. But you don't have to avoid them altogether.
Louis, these bad guys are exhausting. They're always coming up with something new. And I mean, it's just, thank goodness that, you're here to keep up for us, because that one that you kept showing on the parking meters, I'm like, I do that all the time. And I just don't even think about it, because who wants to pull out a million quarters? Nobody. You don't want to.
And that's the point of these stories, is just to get you to think about it. Because we get so many messages and so many emails from people after the fact, when they've fallen victim. And so that is the point of all of these schemes, because there are so many of them out there. You're right, Julie. Like they keep us busy for sure, the bad guys.
Well, and you mentioned you hear from people afterwards. I've had situations, we all have, where you've been skimmed or different things have happened. And yeah, a lot of times you get the money back, but it takes a long time and it's a process and it's a pain. So it's just better if you can just not have them take all your money.
Exactly. Yes, because listen, that money goes out of your account like that, but sometimes it can take forever to get it back, if you get it back at all.
Yeah.
And so that is always the point of these stories, is just to get people to pause and take a beat. And because what happens is sometimes people will get ripped off and then they start Googling around and then they find our stories. But we want that to work the other way around. We want you to see the story and don't get ripped off.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand. So, you can be at some place that's obviously legit, like those parking meters or menus, and so a bad guy could come into the legit places, switch it around somehow, and then you just don't notice. So it's so that's why you gotta hover and look at what you're clicking on.
Yep. So if it's in any public place, yesterday we were at a restaurant and they had them down on the table for the menu. Because of that, I really had to, see, and sometimes it's just like a sticker that's over the real one. So I would just inspect it a little bit better, or if you're at a restaurant, ask them to bring you another one, because one that's just on the table, anybody has access to that. So yeah,
Okay.
anyone that's in a public place, inspect it a little more before you scan it.
All right, Louis, good advice. Thank you so much. Will you be talking about this more on News 6 with us later today? Do we get to see you in the studio?
I will not be in the studio today, but yes, the story is airing in the 4 o'clock.
Okay, it's always a letdown if you don't join us live. We like to have our Bolden moment in the studio.
That Bolden bump.
That's what we call it. That is what it is. People love it. All right, Louis, tell us once again if you've gotten ripped off, where we can email you.
lbolden@wkmg.com. Comes right to my inbox.
And I know your inbox is full. Not full like you can't send it, but full like you get a lot.
We do. We do get a lot. But keep them coming. Keep them coming, because the schemes change all the time.
They do. All right, Louis Bolden, thank you so much.
Okay, Jules.
Let's get a check of your forecast. I hope you got to get out and enjoy our beautiful weekend. It was a really kind of rough week for us last week. We saw cold temperatures. It was a little drizzly and dreary. Of course, the Panhandle saw snow, but is looking a whole lot better for just about the entire state this week. Here's what it looks like for you right now as we scan out on the radar. We are not finding any rain to track. Now, we do have a little bit of rain in the forecast, but nothing terribly significant at the moment. Here's a look as we factor in the satellite imagery. We haven't seen a lot of cloud cover so far today, a little bit of upper level cloud cover at times, but overall a lot of sunshine is filtering through. Here's how we started the day. Now, still some spots very chilly. In Ocala, you were at 42. The Villages and Leesburg, 43 was your morning low. In Orlando, even a few degrees cooler than normal. We started at 49, and you were mild in Melbourne at 55. Look at these temperatures right now. Feeling so nice out there. It is 72 in Orlando, 69 in both Sanford and Leesburg. You're checking in at 72 in Cape Canaveral and 70 in Palm Coast. Here's a look at your clouds and rain forecast. Again, we'll keep a little bit of cloud cover around throughout the day here and there. We do have a dry front moving through tomorrow, although some of the models are indicating we might see a few sprinkles along the coast toward morning tomorrow, but overall we should be dry. For today, we'll get a few degrees warmer than we are right now, going to 73 in Ocala, 73 in Kissimmee, and 70 for your high today in Daytona Beach. Here's how it looks as we take you through the next 7 days. We'll continue to see that warming trend, even starting tonight with our lows really mild, 52 overnight in Orlando, and you fall to 51 in Ocala. Now notice that warm up as we head toward the weekend. So tomorrow still right in the normal range, but by Wednesday we start to creep above the normal high of 72, going to 77 on Thursday, 78 on Friday, and then this weekend it looks like we may see a system move into the area. 80 on Saturday, 81 on Sunday. Right now we are keeping the extended forecast dry, although we may have to add a few isolated showers into the picture this weekend. We will talk much more about that for you coming up, starting on News 6 at 4. If you have any questions or comments for us here at Take 6, head to clickorlando.com/take6. Let us know what's on your mind. We're so happy you stopped by today, and I'll see you at 4.